let's talk a little bit about the combine here, which is I heard it referred to yesterday as the greatest. What was it called? It's basically one of the great job fairs of all time. Now these workouts, which started yesterday and will go through the weekend, and quarterbacks are going to throw and quarterbacks are not going to throw and all sorts of stuff. How does somebody like you, who is so inside this industry, how do you look at what's going on this week?
I like to call it the Holy Trinity, right?
Okay.
So they've already watched the film.
Right.
Film, if we're being honest, and I don't mean to be rude to anybody of any faith, but film should be probably your Holy Spirit.
Right.
Watching what the guys actually do on the field.
Right.
But two, if we're looking at, you got to do the next two pieces, I think that your measurables go in there, and then the next one is your interviews. And I guess that's how you interact with Jesus, who's going to be your boss for the next few years. So
this is way out of my league, by the way, just so people know.
I know you're a member of the tribe, my man. Don't worry.
I just don't know any. I don't even know my own.
So, but the thing for me is I do look at it as there's three things that you need to have. You need to have measurables.
Right.
You need to perform in the interviews. And the interviews include chalk talk, and they include like your personality, all those things. And then the main part is still your film, and your film has the work. I talked to Christian Fitzpatrick, kid out of Marshall, and I talked to him with Braylon Edwards yesterday. And the big key for them was, like, you got to let them know that you love football. You got to let them know you love football, that you're willing to do anything to get on the field. You got to let them know that you are very interested, not just interested. Interested is the wrong word. You're invested in this. This is your life. And that's something that I don't think a lot of folks realize. Everyone thinks you're playing a game. Not playing a game. It's you trying to be one of the handful of 200 and, what are we talking about? 254 people that get drafted. And that doesn't count the guys that get drafted without going to the combine. So you're competing against 350 people to try to get one of those spots.
Mike Felder, the Substack is It's Felder in the Bleachers on Twitter. So I just want to start with the highest profile players here. And first of all, is Travis Hunter, in your view, the best player in this draft?
I don't think so. I don't even think he's the best corner.
Really?
No, I think Will Johnson, longer, stronger. I got a text from one of my guys, Connor Rogers. Connor works for NBC New York, and I text Connor yesterday, and I said, when you get eyes on Travis Hunter, please tell me what he looks like. And his text, hang on, I can pull it right here. His text said that he is thin. And I got the text right here. Okay. There we go. There it is, Connor. Man, he is a slender dude. He really might be playing wide receiver when all this is said and done. And if that's the reality, great, fantastic. You get a slim wide receiver, and sure, that's going to probably help his body stand up to a lot more of it than playing corner. I think he should play corner. I think he'd be to me, he's corner number 2. But I know that the reason when I do my rankings, like for Bleach Report, I put him at corner number 1 because I don't have the energy or the time or the patience to deal with people.
That's hysterical. That is preventive maintenance right there. Yeah. That is like get your oil changed, man. Just get your oil changed and ward off any other future issues. So, because he said the other day that he wants to play both. And that there were teams, who was it? Tennessee is like, no, we're if we draft him, we're going to play him both sides of the ball. To me, that's Tennessee trying to drum up more interest in Travis Hunter so they can move him. But if he's equally good at both, he should play corner first and spot him at wide receiver, correct?
Yes, I think if he plays 2-3 snaps at wide receiver, but also the ball's going to go to him if he plays wide receiver. That's the way that scouting works. But also on the other side, I mean, I'm an old school guy, man. Do one thing and do it well. Like, we didn't see Ray Lewis running the football. He could have played running back. Sure, we didn't see Ed Reed playing wide receiver. He probably could have done that too. We didn't see that. So do one thing, do it well, and build your body to be ready for that. I think the closest counterpart to this is probably Devin Hester. And you look at Devin Hester's career, he made it into the Hall of Fame as a what?
Kick returner. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he wasn't that good at wide receiver and he wasn't that good at corner. So pick a thing that you're going to be good at and go out and do that really well. And that's the part that really I find frustrating because I think a lot of folks are enamored by Travis Hunter in terms of versatility.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, man, go play corner, be a really good corner, be a denial corner, which is where Will Johnson, to me, that's why I have Will Johnson as the number one corner. Because I think Will Johnson, in my mind, Will Johnson is someone that plays denial football, is long, is willing to trigger and go make tackles and does all those things. But you can't do all those things if you have to spend half your time in this meeting and half your time in that meeting. And that's the thing I don't think a lot of football fans think about is the amount of time you're not getting working on one craft because you're worried about another craft.
Mike Felder is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, so the bigger question would be for you, who is the best player in this draft?
Oh, give me Abdul Carter.
Okay.
High cut. And for folks that don't know, when I say high cut, I mean like if you're in, I don't want you to do this if you're in the car because it's dangerous. But if you're at your desk, look where your last rib is and imagine your leg started right there. High cut, can move, can run, can do everything. I got into a little bit of a thing because they messed up my lower third and they messed up the graphic. And I was like, isn't it? I don't think that's what he plays. But I was like, you know what? I'm going with the graphic because he looks like a safety, right? Okay. Or he looks like a linebacker. But he's high cut. He can move. He's got great transition of speed to power. So I think Abdul Carter is the best player in this draft. I mean, you could throw Tyler Hunter in there. I think him, Will Johnson, absolutely. I think Ashton Genty, who I keep seeing being rated as the number one player, I don't see it, but I also understand that like he's been incredibly productive.
Right.
So we'll see what happens there. I think the two quarterbacks are, you have to put them in the top 10 because of this incredible thirst, but there's a lot of guys I'd rather take ahead of them, including Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State.
Penn State could end up having two of the best players in this draft.
So can Michigan.
That's right, because Will Johnson's from Michigan, and so is Mason Graham.
There you go.
So talk to me about Mason Graham. I know the Panthers are looking for a running mate for Derrick Brown in the middle. Does Mason Graham fit next to Derrick Brown?
Yeah, I love what I think he does fit. Specifically Panthers focus, I do think he can fit. The only thing he can't do is play probably a 5 and out, right? So 5 technique and out. And what I mean by that is like you count 0 as a straight up head, then you call him a shade, then you go to 1, a 2, a 3, 4 eye, all those things. He can play all those positions. His arms aren't long enough for him to play at a 5 technique where you have to get that tackle off you like that.
Okay.
But he can play all those other positions. He's also played a stand-up 4. He is someone that reminds me a little bit of Christian Wilkins, Grady Jarrett. Like he's got this ability to be sneaky on the interior. And the two things for me, and you and I have talked about this before, to play defense you need effort and understanding. And he plays with maximum effort, and he has an understanding of what the assignment is. And the way that he's able to work interior stunts, there's not a lot of like TT stunts, right? There's not a lot of tech stunts, but he's able to do those things. And then he can also, when he kicks out to that 4 eye, he is able to come back inside and get to the quarterback. And then the effort, watching this guy chase down a play, a screen, where he gets up to the quarterback, then the ball's already out, and then watching him run down the ball carrier 12 yards down the field. Like, a lot of guys they're just showing things for film. I don't know if people know this, but they look at what you're doing on film, and all you have to do is fake it. But he is really trying, and he makes those tackles, so I really like him.
Mike Felder is joining us here in the bleachers on Twitter. It's Felder, the Substack. Of the two quarterbacks And I know there are other quarterbacks. I know Jackson Dart is supposedly a good quarterback. But of the two, fellas, just wave it off. Don't give me a Jackson Dart. But of the two quarterbacks, Cam Ward from Miami and Shedeur Sanders from Colorado, which one do you like better? Do you think either is top 5 material, should be taken, can be a franchise quarterback?
I'm going to flip this around on you.
Okay.
Last year, what do we have? 6 guys in the top, 12?
Too many. The one that I liked the most was Michael Penix, but
who are we going to put ahead of those guys? Which of these two guys are we going to put ahead of any of those guys?
I think Ward has.
You're putting Ward over maybe McCarthy?
No. Yeah, well, we didn't see enough of J.J. McCarthy, and I wasn't a huge J.J. McCarthy fan at Michigan. I think he can be solid, but I can't believe that he was taken in the top half of the first round. Penix I love, but I'm not 100% sure that he's franchise NFL quarterback material. But that's what we do, right? And I've been screaming about this for years, that we overrate quarterbacks, then we force them to play, and then we get rid of them before we actually give them a chance to learn how to play the position.
So I've got 2 things with this. One, yes, I agree with you. We overrate quarterbacks because there's this thirst for a franchise quarterback. I did a show. It's a very long show, just so folks know. It's 2.5 hours long, where I went around the league and asked people who their second best quarterback was in the NFL. And so it's like the Jets. Who's your best quarterback? Most folks said Namath, and then they were like, I don't know who else. And
there is no second place. Richard Todd, second best quarterback in Jets history. Go Alabama.
So it's like it's wild to think about the fact of how hard it is to get a franchise quarterback, right?
Yeah.
And they keep chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing. So there's that part. Then the other part is when we look at last draft to this draft, these guys are being pushed up, even though we would not rank them above the guys that we saw get picked last year. But they will be picked in the same slots as the guys we saw get picked last year, which is why Jackson Dart, who you mentioned, is going to go in the first round. Shouldn't.
Right.
What's the difference between Jackson Dart and Will Levis? What's the difference?
Does Jackson Dart not
eat mayonnaise? No.
Yeah, eat the peel. Does he put mayonnaise in coffee? But Will Levis has already also told us that was a lie, that he made that up.
But it's that. But the point here is the point I'm making is that the market determines the outcome, and the outcome is we're going to at least see 3 quarterbacks get picked. Dart might be one of them, but I think to answer your question, Ward I think is better than Shedeur. But I will say this: if I'm the Jets, the Giants have already they've already made their bed. You lay in it, right? Mm-hmm. With the new contract, they're done. So it's the Jets releasing Rodgers. The Jets need a quarterback. So I think I would rather see Shedeur Sanders in New York City than Cam Ward, because Shedeur at least has been in the spotlight his whole life, and I think he can handle this, and I think he's got a good head on his shoulders for this situation. But I think Cam Ward is a better quarterback. But then again, Cam Ward is living in that Michael Penix world where there's a little, there's some dust on the tires. Mm-hmm. And so we'll see what that looks like. Although you play quarterback, man, what's going to happen to you? Like, realistically, you play quarterback. We're not talking about a running back like Ashton Genty.
Right.
Right? We're not talking about a guy like Luther Burden. Like, we're not like Burdine, excuse me. We're not talking about a guy that's been hit a bunch. We're not talking about an offensive lineman, defensive lineman. You're quarterback, man. You wear a red jersey.
I like. Look, I wouldn't take either of them in the beginning of the draft. I wouldn't.
Sure.
I would take the best defensive player or an offensive lineman. That's what I would do. But I am one of those people who says, look, all of these quarterbacks are rolls of the dice. Unless I know I've got a Cam Newton or an Andrew Luck or somebody like that coming out of college, I am not taking them early in the first round. I am going to take the best football player and put them on the field. But that's
BPA.
Yeah, that's what I would do. But I'm also not running an NFL team. Final thing for Mike Felder. I'm sure you're excited. You probably have already re-upped your Max, your HBO Max account. UNC, Bill Belichick, and Hard Knocks coming up. Your level of interest in this?
I didn't even have to re-up it, man. My wife watches it nonstop. But yeah, so this is going to be really interesting, and they're doing some curious things. I just am very, I think I'm taking my daughter to the spring finale. I just got the email from Kevin Donnelly about the final spring practice and going to the cookout and the whole deal. So tailgate, excuse me. And so I think we're going to go and do that. I am curious. I'm more excited is maybe not the right word. I'm more curious to see what this looks like.
Right.
Because talking to people that have played for him, talking to people that have worked with him, like this is going to be like he's going to have to change, but they're also going to have to grow up.
Right.
And I think growing up might be the key word here because he's not your dad. He's not.
Oh, is he? You okay? All right, we have.
No, I'm good. I'm sorry.
All right, so it's going to be like an education. I've already talked about this.
It's the difference, but what I'm saying is this is the difference between, to put it in perspective for people. My daughter's in elementary school.
Right.
They help her get out of the car, and they make sure she walks her in, and this is good, and this is nice. I see high schoolers every day just walking straight. They're like their parents park, and they're like, well, we're not going to be able to get into the lot, so why don't you just get out now?
Right.
And so it's a different world.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. So 100%. I just think that you got to grow up. Because if we're going to make it a business, you better be ready for this business. And I think, honestly, like being like transparent, I do think that they're going to operate from a deficit, not UNC, but like these players. Not just UNC players, but these players where we're hiring a GM and we're dialing up these deals and trying to sign contracts. They're going to operate from a deficit because, don't know the percentage, but most of these families don't understand how this stuff works.
Right. That's true.
And if you don't have that part, it's going to be really hard. There's a reason Gronk was really good at the financial side of playing in the NFL. His family understood it. It's really hard to do when this is your first time, whether it's your first time going to college, your first time operating with like actual money, or operating with a coach that's like, hey man, we can do this and this, but you have to do this. So there are going to be some growing pains. And so, but I do think that me and a couple of my teammates, we've been talking about it on IG, doing our DMs, texting. I think we're going to go up and go to the spring game and really try to have some fun.
Well, good. I said this earlier. I think this year, North Carolina will be the most watched football program in college football history. And it doesn't matter if they're good or not. I just think, the fact that TCU UNC is the Labor Day night game, there's no reason ever why that should be the Labor Day night game.
Yeah.
We don't really have a football brand playing in the final game of the opening weekend of college football, but we have Bill Belichick, and this is going to be a fascination all season long. Enjoy that the spring fling finale. Mike Felder. It's Felder, the Substack. Thank you very much, my man. I'll talk to you soon.
All good, man. I am excited. I'm roasting hot dogs over an open fire with my daughter tonight.
I love hot dogs.
Yeah.
Right,
I'm making the buns right now.
You're making the buns?
Yeah, dude.
You're next level.
Come
You're
on.
next level. You're the best.
Let's go.
I'll talk to you later. Making the buns.
Of course he's making the
Phenomenal.
buns.
What a renaissance man.